Hey everyone, I finished watching the next Street Sharks episode, Trojan Sharks. It's the second to last episode. The stakes should be getting higher, big things should be happening, and instead we get just another standard episode of the Dino Avengers and the Street Sharks arguing with each other. The Raptors do their thing, and It's an okay episode, too, but there's just so many problems with it anyway. So it starts off, the Dino Avengers and the Street Sharks are playing pool, and they have a bet. Whoever wins the game goes out and buys Humongo burgers. So, anyway, the Street Sharks win, and the Raptors go out with Ben's to Humongo Burger. Then we see the Raptors are at an amusement park, and this little kid approaches them, and the little kid sounds like Shrimp Louie. Huh. Whatever. Anyway, they threaten the kid, and that gives them the idea to terrorize the park. So the Dino Avengers see people running from the park, and the Dino Avengers go to stop the Raptors, and Benz calls the Street Sharks to come help. So then there's a weird thing at the park. The Dino Avengers just get their butts kicked completely by the Raptors, and it's really weird following all the other episodes. Like, I guess the Raptors maybe learn from experience, because they've never been very good when it comes to, like, one-on-one fights. So, or actually, they are outnumbered by the... Whatever. Anyway, the Sharks come in to save the Dino Avengers. They drive off the Raptors run away. They wake up the Dino Avengers, and for some bizarre reason, the weirdest thing in this episode, Jab, like, points to the wrecked amusement park, and he's like, "You guys are gonna have to pay for this." What? And then the Dino Avengers are like, "The Raptors are the ones who did this," and the Sharks are like, "Really? They did all this?" And I'm just like, where the frig is any of this coming from? I really don't understand what the logic was here. Why are they insinuating that, like, did the Dino Avengers have, like, a tendency to just wreck things for no reason? Also, this is so strange because it parallels back to the beginning of the Street Sharks, the actual Street Sharks, before the Dino Avengers garbage started. One of the first big episodes with the Street Sharks, like their first big fight with Paradigm, Slash, and Slopster, was in an amusement park. And how did they defeat them? They wrecked a roller coaster and dropped it on the bad guys. And now they're acting all high and mighty like, we never wreck things. Your signature move is diving into the road and, like, swimming through it, which wrecks it, by the way. Do you ever pay for that? Do you ever pay for any of the collateral damage you cause? You cause a lot. Like, again, I'm thinking back to the beginning, there's that part where they're being chased by a couple of bounty hunters, and then they, like, dig a trap door, or, like, a booby trap in the road. They drive onto the thing, and they fall through it. Again, you just wrecked the road. Anyway, back to the summary of the stupid episode. The Dino Avengers had a tracking device planted on them by the Raptors. On their way back to their base, the Raptors track them down and freeze them with freeze lasers. You know what would be interesting is, because wasn't that a thing back in the episode with Malcolm Medusa? He had, like, some kind of freezing gun. That would have been a neat little tie-in to, I don't know, maybe they teamed up with him to get that, but they don't. They just have freeze lasers, whatever. So, anyway, oh yeah, Benz the next day sees in the newspaper that the Natural History Museum was vandalized. That's where the Raptors captured the Dino Avengers. And so anyway, the Sharks, for some reason, jumped to the conclusion that who vandalized the museum was the Dino Avengers. Why would they do that? Seriously, this is the second to last episode. This is the last chance to build up any kind of, like, character for them, and it's just all completely forgotten. The Sharks are... they keep resetting everything in these last few episodes with the Dino Vengers. Every single episode ends with the Sharks and the Dino Vengers having a little bit more trust with each other, but then it's all forgotten about the next episode. It's really, really irritating. So anyway, let's see. Looking through my notes jumped around. Okay, they go to the museum and they find one of the Raptors' tracking devices, and let's see. Benz thinks that he can figure it out and use it to locate where they are. The Raptors have imprisoned the Dino Vengers in this unbreakable cone thing that they just happen to have, I guess. And then they go on a crime spree. Benz figures out how to fix the tracking device to find the Dino Vengers. Slamu and Jab, they make it just in time to save the Dino Vengers from being launched into space by Spitter. And then, meanwhile, Ripster and Streaks find the other Raptors. They've taken over a military compound, and they've aimed a bunch of missiles at world capitals. The Sharks all unite together, and they reveal that Spitter is, held captive by them. Ripster sends a message to the other Raptors that he'll return Spitter if they surrender the military compound. Bad Rap doesn't accept, and then Benz brings a tank in, and then apparently Spitter escapes somehow, which is really confusingly laid out. So anyway, Spitter escapes, and he gets away from the Sharks. He gets to the military compound's door. The Raptors let him in, and then suddenly Spitter has Benz's voice, and then it's all revealed that the Spitter that escaped was actually a robot that Benz made and is controlling to get inside the compound. That's actually a pretty cool and clever idea, but there's a few problems with it, so Benz can make a robot identical to Spitter and can do all this stuff, including use Spitter's attack. He can spit acid. He did this in, under a day. In a few hours, if that. Vehicles and gadgets are one thing, but this is, really, really advanced. Whatever. And then there's a weird thing. The Raptors, when they see Robot Spitter, one of them says, "Your complexion looks weird," or something. And it's very funny because it's the exact same animation model that the normal Spitter is. There's no difference between them. So I don't know, they were trying to be clever in the writing, but it didn't come across in the animation. So anyway, the Spitter robot destroys the controls, and their plans are foiled. And then the Sharks and Dino Vengers imprison the Raptors in that cone thing. But then Bad Rap has a little remote control with him that he uses to set off a warhead that's targeting their own location. The Sharks and Dino Vengers evacuate. Ripster tries to take the Raptors with them, but he drops the cone. And then, the cone lands in a garbage dump and gets a bunch of garbage dumped on top of them, and so the Raptors are trapped under garbage. Okay. So anyway, that's the end, and it's an almost good episode, but the conflict between the Sharks and the Dino Vengers is easily the stupidest and weakest in the entire run of these episodes. It's incredibly forced. I don't know why it was there. I think the writer thought that they just needed any kind of reason, no matter how dumb, to separate the Dino Vengers from the Sharks, but it's unnecessary because the Sharks and the Dino Vengers already have a reason to be separated. The Dino Vengers have their own base. It's at that warehouse behind the museum. It's been pre-established. That's where they are when the Raptors attack. So it's in my mind, they were going to their own base. Isn't that enough of a reason? Why did we need this dumb conflict thing? Why did there constantly have to be this hostility between the two teams? I do not understand. All I can guess is the writers behind the scenes were, I don't know, mad that the Dino Vengers were being forced into the show, and they were passive-aggressively venting their frustrations through the show itself. Like, the Dino Vengers come off as pretty unlikable most of the time, but the sharks are also pretty unlikable. Whatever, anyway, moving on. For a second to last episode, you'd think there'd be higher stakes and bigger moments, but it just feels like more of the same. There's petty conflict between the Sharks and Dino Vengers, the Raptors are launching missiles, and it's been done before in like every episode with the Dino Vengers. Every episode is the same. It's one of the reasons why these episodes are so just bad and annoying to me. Before this, like, the episodes could tend to be a bit formulaic, and there's like things that happen a lot, like, especially in the early episodes, like, every episode has a police chase scene. Let's see, there's a lot of episodes where Paradigm has, like, some dumb plan with a new mutant that's just there to sell a toy or something. But there was some variety, there was difference, and here it's all the exact same thing every time. One of the Sharks, one of the Dino Vengers, the Raptors are launching missiles, and it gets old. I'm really missing the variety of villains they used to have. They're all completely forgotten. Like I said earlier, wouldn't it have been neat to have Malcolm Medusa there? Like, he's the one who gives the Raptors the freeze lasers. That would have been a neat little tie-in thing. Like, Medusa wouldn't even have had to have been, like, a main villain of the plot or something. He could have just popped up at the beginning, wanting to ally himself with the Raptors. Speaking of which, what happened to Paradigm? They kind of forgot about him. The main villain of the show, the guy who instigated everything that happens in the show, and he's just completely forgotten about. They turned him into a lizard and forgot about him. Until next episode, which I'm not looking forward to. So yeah, that's it for this one. I hope you enjoyed it. See ya.